working. Hopefully should be online. Okay, we're good to go. Do message me and chat if you can hear me okay. I can see that things are working fine now. So bonjour, bonjour. Yeah, I'm trying something new. Again, I think 2 weeks ago I went through the marketing strategy for Everyone Hates Marketers. This time around, I want to show you something a bit different. And I actually want to do the work right now. So showing it live to you is an excuse to make myself look accountable. And yeah, ça marche. Okay. Perfect. So there's going to be some delay, I'm pretty sure. So the way I'm going to read the message between the time I read the message and the time I start showing stuff, there's going to be delay. Okay. So I'm using this new software called Restream, and forgive me if I'm fucking up in some ways or another. I'm just checking on YouTube here. It hasn't shown yet. Let me see. Okay, people are on YouTube as well. So I can see 6 people on YouTube. So that should work out. So do message me on YouTube if you watch it on YouTube before I start, because I'm not so sure it's actually working for some reason. Hey there. Okay. Going all good. Okay, thank you. Thanks so much. Okay. So today I want to show you how, like, the process I use to try to understand what people do, what people want to do, what they want to achieve whenever I'm trying to kind of solve something or sell something. And I'm not going to use any like interviewing tactics. So it's not going to be about talking to people. Even though you must talk to your customers if you can, but it's really going to use emails that I've collected, survey answers that I've collected in the last few weeks, replies on Facebook, in the Facebook group. I mean, that kind of written content in order to extract insights so that I understand a bit better what people think, what people want when it comes to a specific problem. So let me show you first this little thing. So that was a form that I created for the program Stand the Fuck Out a few weeks ago. So the first aim of this form was to collect answers and to see how many people would be a good fit. But the other aim was actually to get some answers from them when it comes to the problem of standing out, right? So I've asked them a few questions. And I'm going to show you the one that is basically the one that is always there. The one question I've asked was, what's the one thing you're hoping to learn from Stand the Fuck Out? So here, even though I was selling a program that was there to help you radically stand out, I also wanted to help understand exactly what it meant for them. So I've asked this question. So what is the thing that they're hoping to learn? What is the benefit, the ultimate benefit they're hoping to learn? And I wanted to understand their words a bit, right? The other one that I've asked is this one. So, sorry, it looks a bit shit. So pretend we are at the end of November, which is the end of the program. You've been accepted into the early access cohort, completed all the work, attended all the group calls. What specific result did you achieve? So here, it's not about what you're hoping to learn. It's really like, okay, I've achieved X, Y, and Z. Those are the things that I really wanted to achieve, and those are the things I wanted to do. So that was helpful. Then I've asked a few questions around like yes or no question. That's not really relevant to today. And then the other question that I wanted to ask was, what is the one thing preventing you today from making the service or products that you're selling to stand out, right? So objections, the wants that they have, like what do they want to achieve, and so what, so what did they want to achieve exactly? I've also asked this question in the Facebook group, asking them, hey, when it comes to radical differentiation, when it comes to standing out, what are the things that that prevents you from standing out? So I wanted to understand the barriers there. And then I've had plenty of conversation over emails when I sent some emails about the program and whatnot, about the topic of radical differentiation and what people had in mind about it and what they wanted to achieve and all of that. So what I've done here, and before that, I'm just gonna see if everything is going fine. What I've done here is I've collected all of that free text thing in a Google Doc. So I've removed, there shouldn't be any personal identifiable information. But what is super interesting here is are the words that people are using. And you'll see that we're going to basically go through that, so that even though I have a good understanding of what I was selling, that really helped me to really understand a few things in terms of who are the people that I really, really want to sell to. What do they actually want to achieve in their own words and stuff like that. And then finally, I actually did a webinar recently on radical differentiation here. And what I've asked Joe to do, who's the host of the marketingmeetup.com, was to post the questions that people ask at the end as well. So I've actually put them here. And I've also copied pasted a few things that people said after the webinar. And the reason why I want to show you all of this is you don't necessarily have to talk to people directly, and even though you must, you don't have to talk to people directly to really gather a lot of interesting data from there. So together, we're going to make sense of this data, is what I want to do. By the way, I'm just going to reduce this window size a bit. By the way, please answer, ask any question you might have if you wish on this. Okay, so by the way, you should see the text properly. Do send a message if you don't. Okay, so with that in mind, what I like to do is just I go to a spreadsheet, normal spreadsheet, and so on the left hand side we're gonna have the people. So I like to not go super far in terms of demographics, in terms of who they are, but more like just brief stuff. And then here is, I'm going to try to identify a few things. So I want to identify first, what's the trigger? What makes them want to, in the context of what I'm trying to achieve, what made them want to radically stand out? So like, what's the trigger? So it's going to be when, and then a trigger. So when, for example, when I want to scale my agency, I want to X. This is the ultimate motivate. Like that's the thing they want to achieve. I'm just gonna call it achievements there. So I want to, radically differentiate, but it could be very much more specific. So I can. Actually, it's probably going to be achievement here. And motivation here. So I can, whatever. So you don't want to just stand out for the sake of it in this context. You probably want to stand out so you can acquire more users and stuff like that. Then I'm going to put objections here. So things that might prevent them from doing so, like the barriers, the objections. Probably barriers is better. Like what are the things that they have in their mind that just prevent them from going there? I might do something like gold. I'm just going to call it gold, which basically means the things that like copy that I can reuse. and just stuff I want to remember. Anyway, that's the start of it. I don't want to overthink it. So I might add more columns and play with it. But that's the basic, I would say, the job to be done, understanding of, okay, when this particular person wants, when this trigger happens, when this catalyst happens, they want to do this, so they can do that. What prevents them from doing that right now is this. And those are the words that I want to remember as well. This is kind of important here. What's important here is most of the feedback here, most of the words that I'm using, most of the paragraphs that you see are from people who've actually paid for the program. And that's important to remember here, because the feedback that I'm going to get from them is worth more than just any people that I would randomly ask. So I had some hypotheses at first. It was for creators and entrepreneurs and whatnot. But what's important here is that I'm listening to paying customers first, because those people have actually made the action of paying. And so their feedback is worth more than just someone who might say it's too expensive or something like that, right? So it's really about really focusing on the people who who are the closest to you, the people who've already paid, recent customers. Even though they haven't gone through the program, I can understand their motivation. I can understand what went into their heads, in their own words, in order to do that, right? In order to stand out. So let's go. So what I like to do is just read those stuff out loud, and then we're going to try to extract a few things. So here, it's the answer to the question, what have you achieved at the end of the program? So found that niche of people to sell to, brand awareness and some credibility within that niche. I found at least one client and more in a waiting list. I'm set with a way better ability to sell myself, help others, and be marketing autonomous. Knowing how to market myself, find a niche, talk to people is profitable enough. At least I see potential of it, not looking filthy rich just to know way. So there's already so much into one answer. So this is one person, and this person is they are a creator slash artist. They are on their own. So they're not part of a company or anything. You'll see why it's relevant for me here. So what's the trigger? There isn't really a trigger here that I can pinpoint. I can't see anything that sparked the reason why. Sometimes triggers and catalysts that makes people like turn a job into a job to be done, something they want to do, is purely external catalyst, meaning that could be me just saying to my email list and the people I know, hey, I'm selling this. Oh shit, yeah, that's relevant. That's a catalyst. So a catalyst and a trigger can be externally facing as much as internal as well, or a bit of both. Another trigger could be an ad, could be anything. It could be a friend telling you, oh, you might check that out. But sometimes it's internal. It's people who seek change in their life and they are actually looking for something themselves. So you can see that it's not all the time that I can feel this thing. But I can see a few things here. I found at least one client. To me, have at least one client will be here. It's the kind of, you can go further, but at the end of the day, you want to stand out because they want to have at least one client. Found that niche to sell to me is kind of a motivation. I want to find that niche of people to sell to so I can have at least one client. So I'm going to put that here. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that now. Okay. Find that niche of people to sell to. Brand awareness, some credibility. So credibility, again, you get brand awareness and credibility. You want that so you can acquire clients, right? I think this is kind of the way I always imagine it is a kind of a journey, is a kind of a checklist. You can't have at least one client without having a niche of people to sell to, some brand awareness, some credibility. I'm set with a way better ability to sell myself. Hey, Jovian. Good to see you here, buddy. I'm sure you'll have plenty of questions as always. um, so, set with a way better ability to sell myself, help others, and be marketing autonomous, knowing how to market myself, find the niche, talk to people. So, it feels like this is another one, ability to sell myself. I do know you, Jovian. And by the way, you're more than welcome to interrupt me, everyone but Jovian, on if you have any questions on this, or if anything that I'm saying doesn't make any sense, because I know I'm talking to myself a bit. So the reason why, so what I'm doing here, I'm just putting it on another line, even though it's the same person. I just because to me, what I seems to read from here is I'm set with a way better ability to sell myself, help others, be marketing autonomous, and hey Gus, good to see you here as well. To me, there is a psychological job to be done as well as a functional job to be done. Meaning, the functional is okay. This person wants to have one client, wants to move on when it comes to that. But on the other side of it is this person seems to have like a psychological job to be done, like a something that is more around their own psyche, which is like confidence. And I don't want to put words into people's words here, but be autonomous. Autonomy is interesting. This idea of being autonomous, this idea of having a process, of having a strategy, that's interesting to me. Helping others, like this idea of like generosity. I'm not too sure where to put it, to be honest. Help others here. So this, I'm just going to put generosity here. Generosity. To me, what I read here is like I want the ability to sell myself. I want autonomy, generosity. There is confidence coming up as a whole. And again, you don't want necessarily to imply things, but here it's this person is not mentioning specific barriers. Well, they're not looking to be filthy rich. I like that. I'm gonna put that as gold because that's copy I can use like in the headline. You know, it's not like this program isn't about helping you to be filthy rich, but blah blah blah. That's pretty good, isn't it? So I'm gonna use that. But this person is not mentioning profitability is definitely, so they won't have this one client, they want to be profitable. Those two things are, in my opinion, functional jobs to be done. And those will be more psychological, more about the psyche, this idea of control. If you want to be profitable, like this idea of confidence, autonomy, there's a few things here that are interesting here from a psychological standpoint. But again, this person is not mentioning barriers specifically, so I'm not going to invent one. And overall, in terms of copy, this one is something interesting, so I'm going to keep it. All right, so let's move on. Okay, so actually, I'm saying something. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is the same person. So this paragraph was taken from a Facebook replies. So I have asked specifically, what is stopping you from radically standing out? What is stopping you from creating product that stands out? And this person said, not knowing what zigging is, you know, zigging versus zagging, and being afraid of being thrown rocks at by zagging peeps. Okay, so yeah, it is the same person. So actually barriers are coming up. So not knowing what zigging is a barrier. Being afraid of being thrown rocks at zagging peeps. It's actually a very interesting way of saying stuff. So two barriers in the idea of, yeah, I want to radically stand out. I want my company to radically stand out, but I don't know what to do. And even if I do, I'm afraid of people throwing rocks at me. Yeah, Jovian, yeah, absolutely. It is a huge problem. I mean, this is a huge problem because folks, there's a lot of books out there teaching you that it is important to radically stand out and radically differentiate yourself, but there is none that actually tell you how to do it. You kind of have to figure it out yourself. So absolutely. So then this person says, knowing the market, its problems, their goals, thinking to know it and understand it enough, but actually not seeing a better way to stand out from the crowd. That's also very good. So you like having all the information, in a sense, having all the information in front of you, not saying, and again, I'm rephrasing a bit here, I'm summarizing a bit. So this isn't verbatim what this person said, but it's a good summary, right? Having all the info in front of you, but not seeing a better way to stand out from the crowd. That's good, right? It's like, and again, I might be overly reading about this, but to me, that implies confidence as well. It's like, yeah, this idea of having a system to help you, but also having the confidence to do so. Because when you have all the info in front of you and you don't see a better way, sometimes it's maybe about your brain tricking you. So, and then this person goes further, not seeing the obvious solution outside of the box, and seeing if seeing a possible path, not being sure of its result, being afraid it doesn't work, to be called out by the community, being a fraud maybe because of a different way to do it, if that makes sense. So that's good as well, and that goes back to the confidence. So not seeing the obvious solution out of the, I mean, literally you can fucking put everything here because those are all barriers. By the way, I'm just going to put them up. They are not necessarily related, right? It's not to find a niche. These barriers not necessarily connected, but they are part of the same person. So not being sure of its result. So you don't see the not being sure its results. Being afraid. There you go. So the word afraid is coming back again. So confidence, fear. You're afraid it's not working. You're afraid people are going to throw rocks at you. And again, confidence is like, it just goes back to this mental thing. To be called out, I think that's similar than being throwing rocks. To be called out. Not seeing. Okay, so that's one person. You can see you can extract a lot here, and already I have like plenty of ideas here in terms of content I could create and whatnot, just from one email and one Facebook conversation. Okay, let's move on. We are a small agency selling digital and physical wellness and lifestyle products. I think we do. Okay, so that's a specific question. So describe who they are. And the question here is anything preventing you from standing out? I think we do, but I'm making it up as we go along. I never worked in marketing until I started a marketing company with like some guidance, process, inspiration. Okay, so this one, founder of small agency. So they want guidance, process, inspiration. Even though they say at the start, making it up, we're making it up as we go along. I like that. There's nothing crazy fancy about this sentence, but I actually like it. So I'm going to put it, I'm going to put it here. Just like those words, sometimes you can reuse. So here again, I don't want to overread this, but making it up as we go along, I like some guidance, some process, inspiration. There's also this idea of confidence, of control, that seems to pop up again. Someone can be more confident, so have like more control over things. Like we want guidance, a process, this idea of control again. I'm gonna attempt to find something with you for you. So it's a job to be known info catalyst, I think. I'm gonna try to find this article I found back Yes, I think that's. Oh yes. So Alan Clement is one of the key thinker uh, um, of the job to be done theory, and this article is phenomenal because I really like the way he does the data stuff. I'm going to plunk it in the chat here. So I'm not going to go through the article, but if I remember correctly, there's a list. There's a list. Oh, Steve. Yes. Boom. Here we go, folks. I'm going to add a new sheet. All right. So this is golden. And Lane, I haven't been to any of your courses. It's just explaining how to do research from current question. Yeah, correct. Yeah. So it's just an example. You don't need to follow any of the course or whatever. It's purely how to gather insight from existing customers or people who might be willing to to pay for your stuff. How to gather insight from different area and how to interpret it. That's how I would. That's how I would put it, folks. So hopefully that's helpful, Lane. So this list is a kind of a list that Alan Clement put together from different sources on the goals that people have. Like again, we're not using the exact same terminology, but basically the achievement, the goal. If you want, we can put goal here. And those goals, if you realize, are all highly, like I would say, psychological within people's psyche. They are not externally facing necessarily. So you can see, like, you want control. You want to determine the behavior of things. You want organization. You want to know where things are. Relatedness. You want to have intimate contact with people. Security. You want safety in your life. Self-esteem. You want to feel good. Pleasure. Self-expression. Recognition. Care. This is probably 99% of the things that people really want to buy when they buy something from you. And it could be anything. Like it could be anything from a gym app to high-level consulting and whatnot. It always goes back to those. So I like this list very much, which is why I mentioned a few words related to that. So it's control. If you go back to this, they want guidance, process, inspiration. So if you just use those three words, literally, guidance. When you want guidance, what do you want? You want to supervise the running things around you. When you want guidance, you also want safety, in a sense, safety to know that what you're going to do is going to work. You want maybe insight as well. You want to comprehend a specific phenomenon, like when it comes to maybe radical differentiation in this case. You can see how far you can go with those things. So anyway, it's an interesting list. I'm going to send you I already sent you the article. Silly me. Okay. Why consumers start and stop consuming the various things that mark? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. That's it, man. So that's the same person. Then they say, everything has been organic to date. Now we have something interesting. We have the start of a trigger, a catalyst. Again, something that makes people go from job to be done. Something that makes people start action and researching about it. Something that makes them move away from the status quo. Everything has been organic to date. I like to take steps towards getting my shit together and formalizing my strategy rather than making it up as I go. Okay. I like to take steps toward getting my shit together and formalizing my strategy. So it's not a textbook definition of a trigger because it's not exactly, there's not a moment in this person's life that says, okay, you know what, I'm going to go for this. I'm going to seek this course or whatever. But you can see the beginning of, like, something was brewing. And when I reached out to a few people and say, hey, I'm putting that together. Do you want to help me? Do you want to take it and give me feedback? This is kind of probably the last thing they wanted to know. they already wanted to take steps toward getting their shit together. They wanted to formalize their strategy, and rather than making it up as they go, right? And I love that. So I have some strategy to go with my tactics. Isn't that cool? So I want to have strategy to go with my tactics. And again, like in terms of copy, this is brilliant. And what I infer from here, from this thing, I'm just gonna create a few colors so you don't get fucking. What I infer from this little thing here. Bear with me. Is the fact that it seems like when you want strategy with your tactics, you kind of want to formalize the process. You want to scale. It feels like we have there is this idea of, okay, they've made it up for a long time. It worked really well for them as a small agency, but it was time to move on to something a bit more, more controlled fashion again, a more formalized. And stuff like that. So control was already there. I'm just wondering if there's anything that relates to that, getting my shit together. When you want to get your shit together, strategy from tactic, you want scale, maintain control as things get more complex. I think, to be honest, this is pretty close to this, right? So there is this idea of scale as a trigger here. The need for scale. Here. Barriers, I don't see any. If you do, please let me know from this. I don't see any barriers per se that would prevent them from going for this or prevent them from standing out. Like I don't see any objections. All right, let me just some water. All right, so I'm gonna die. All right. So again, you can really get this data from anywhere. You just need to be curious about basically the customer journey, which is always there's a catalyst, there's something that happens in their life that make them seek a solution to a problem that they have, and it makes them seek the solution to solve this problem. They are looking for many different solutions possible. It might be in a few seconds that they look at all of these options in their head. It could take months, depending on how your business model is. And then you move on to solving it for a specific reason. The way I think the best representation of this idea is, to me, what's called the customer forces canvas, which is this. This is kind of always what I have in my head. You can see this is what we're doing here. We are basically reconstructing this hill, which is what was the triggering event that made people say, hey, I'm going to start climbing that fucking hill because I want to achieve this. What are the push, towards solving a pain? Why are they attracting to that? What type of path are they going after? What's the anxiety preventing them from jumping? What are the habits that make them maybe not grow that hill? And it's not a straightforward journey. Some people will take fucking years to do this and go back and forth. Some people, sometimes you just take decisions in microseconds. And then the other important thing is, once you climb a hill, it just never ends, right? There's always something next. Like humans are strive for change all the time and improvement all the time. So that's that. The other thing I wanted to show you in this article, actually, which is very interesting, is the catalyst. Again, this is what I wanted to tell you about. So the trigger, it could be called a trigger, a catalyst, doesn't matter. Like what make them start thinking about potentially using a product like yours. There is a few of them, but basically those are the type. They are very, very precise here, but You see that advertisement, for example, is a catalyst. So when you see an ad, that's an external catalyst that makes people move and maybe want to climb the hill. Word of mouth is another one. Maybe it's something that is anticipated. You expect something that will happen. Maybe you're going to a conference tomorrow and you want to sleep well tonight. So that's the trigger. And therefore you're going to buy earplugs so that you sleep well tonight. Unexpected events. I mean, that can be anything. Like you have a car accident and therefore you seek someone to tow your car. Boom. That's a catalyst towards searching for a solution. When for Hotjar, for example, the company I used to work for, the web analytics company, one of the key trigger was that when a new team member came in and challenged the status quo internally and basically brought Hotjar with them, for example. Observed use, when you see someone else using it, like a colleague and whatnot. So a job became done. So once you do specific things and then you move on to something else, boom, that could be a trigger for something else. Again, this idea of the fact that it's not a one hill that people seek to climb. It's a fucking mountain with continuous hills throughout. Anyway, that's just that's an interesting way to see it. Again, so I want to tell you that catalyst can be anything that just makes people do something. So, okay, this one. I'm a coach helping founders. Okay, so again, it's one person. So founder, creator, coach. You can see in terms of demographic, I mean, I know who those people are. I can tell you that they are not the same nationality, not the same age. There's nothing in common if you look at them for face value, who they are. Yet you're seeing similarities here in terms of control, confidence, the fact that they all want, something. They're making it up as they go along. You'll start seeing some commonalities. Jovian, is there a way or technique to figure out which catalyst suits the product better? Well, you want to know. You can't make it up. So by interviewing your product, your product will. It's so vast. There's so many possibilities that it's going to depend on the context. So it's really interesting to understand the catalyst that you can control and the catalyst that you don't control. Meaning the things that happen in people's lives that are outside of your control. A typical one would be I move house. I got a baby. This isn't something you can control yourself, but if you're aware of those, then you can kind of, target Facebook ads to say, hey, when someone buys a house, this is a good trigger for us. A lot of people seem to be buying a product once they buy their house, and therefore we need to be there. Others are catalysts that you can directly control, like very easily advertising is like one of the ones that marketers control the best, right? Word of mouth can also be quote unquote control a bit if you create a good fucking product and amplify word of mouth. But overall, the best technique is to, and you're not going to be surprised by this, is to talk to customers to understand their catalyst. What was the catalyst, so that you can double down on it. What's the number one way to make money online nowadays, in your opinion? Oh, that's a rough one. I'm not sure this is the point of this particular live stream. The best way to make money online is to serve a specific group of people the best way possible, earn their trust, and sell them something that solves their problem. That's as best as I can say. Exactly, yeah. Jovian, the context is super important. So the job here is to do detective, like it's a detective work. You want to kind of very much like I'm just giving you some emails and you talk to customers. You should be able to recreate that hill. you can become a detective by using those words, and you can recreate that heel by interviewing customers and all of that. So this coach, they want to know how to share their ideas in an authentic and vulnerable way that can create a lasting community. And then their goal at the end, they want 10 to 12 clients. Okay. So the main goal is 10 to 12 clients. And so they want to share their ideas in an authentic and vulnerable way so they can create a lasting community, and so they can also acquire 12 clients. Again, those people at face value, yeah, you can say they are selling services. They are not in-house marketers. They're all kind of independents. That's kind of something that, yes, this is something that is in general something connecting all of them together. Yet, there is nothing else in common apart from that, right? When it comes to their age and whatever, they're all very different. Yet you can see similarities already. They want client, control, confidence. There's a few themes coming up. Okay, let's do another one. Okay, so here it's what prevents them. This answer, this person is an entrepreneur. What prevents you from standing out was the question. In a word, cash. I'm trying to live a debt-free business life and I haven't quite reached my tipping point to allow me to be able to invest more time and money in more of my creative ideas. Aha. So I'm going to put that verbatim because that's interesting. So it's like a vicious circle. You don't have the cash or the resources to create new stuff. They're being stuck in kind of the hamster wheel in a sense. And I like the live a debt-free business life. I like that as words. Everyone is looking for shortcuts and secret sauces, and I'm not different. Boom. However, I do know they don't exist. I love that. I hope I can increase, refine, and distill all the marketing knowledge floating around in my head and apply it to my small business. Not to be confused with a huge multinational business that Mark Swisson students probably work for. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. So I love that, first of all. Everyone is looking for shortcuts, and like they know that like what they want is this idea of probably, let's try to find something connecting to this a bit. So they know that they don't exist because they've been listening to the podcast, so they know growth hacks and shit like that are not, there's nothing that's going to help you. Yet we all kind of seek that because what we want is probably control. Again, this idea of and safety in a sense. It's like when you want a secret sauce, you want to know for sure that something is going to work for you, right? So you want something quick. You seek, you want to reduce risk potentially by having the confidence to test something that's going to work for sure, but yet they know that it's not going to work. So that's interesting. I hope I can increase, refine, and distill the marketing knowledge floating around in my head and apply it to my small business. That's something that came back already before, right? This idea of I have some strategy to go in my tactics. I want to formalize my strategy rather than making it up. I want to distill, refine all the marketing knowledge in my head and apply it to my small business. That's the same thing. We're talking about the same things. This person also wants strategy with their tactics. They have a lot of knowledge, a lot of stuff floating around, and boom, another, like, again, something that came back in the barrier from this first one. They have all the info in front of them, but not seeing a better way to stand from the crowd. The exact same thing here, right? So knowledge is not a problem. You can see here that they're not necessarily seeking crazy new ideas to radically stand out and whatnot. What they actually seek is control, a process, a strategy, knowing what to do and not to do. And that's interesting, right? And like, it's only 4 people. And yet almost all of them said something very similar. And to be honest, this is also textbook perfect quote that I can use anywhere. I mean, not anywhere, obviously, but like, I want to distill all the marketing knowledge floating around. I mean, that's gold. And here, this person is taking a dig at Mark Ritzen's mini MBA. Great. It's a great course. But it is true that it's specifically geared towards like folks who work for big brands, even though you can get value out of it if you don't, and it's quite heavy for that. So talks about a lot of stuff, and Mark Wilson specializes in work with a lot of luxury clients and big brands. So it's true that people might feel that it might be more suited for them, and that's interesting that he's actually mentioning that. And I'm not too sure where to put it. But what I imply from this is the fact that they want, it connects a bit to that. They want something, they want knowledge that they can apply directly to their business. And they don't want like high level fluffy shit or stuff that are not relevant to them. They want to know that they can do that in a non-expensive way, in a sense. And again, a goal here, I think it will help me get far more structured and focused with a deeper knowledge of some of the marketing tools currently in your. So get far more structured and focused. Again, so this idea of strategy, right? This person wants to get far more structured and focused. I repeat myself, but you can see this idea of autonomy, control, structure, strategy, focus, process. It all goes back to the same thing. Like they want strategy with their tactics. It's pretty good, huh? It's not me who came up with it. It's my client. So, but you see the power of literally just distilling down a few things, like a few emails, a few responses. There's nothing fancy about this. And again, it doesn't replace talking to customers directly, where you can ask more in-depth questions. Because, for example, here I'm missing triggers, not too sure what made them. Maybe they'll say like the actual trigger was the email you sent or whatever. But I don't have the opportunity here to ask. But still, I have already some copy. I'm already very clear that yes, what people want above all else, it seems, is this confidence from a psychological standpoint, but also this feeling of control, the structure, the focus, this idea of like knowing what to do next. And that's only 4 people. So let's keep going. Just going to put that in pink just so that. And if you have more questions, do send them away. Do send them in or on or whatever. Okay, let's do another one. This time, I want to show you something. I want to show you. So I've looked into those stuff before, so I have a few ideas. But I want to show you the difference. Let me see. There you go. Okay. This is an interesting thing. So here you can see that there's something in common with all of them. They're all entrepreneurs, coach. They all seem to be in control of their destiny in a sense. They all seem to be in charge of their own business in some ways, okay? Yet when you ask an in-house marketer, and you're going to have to trust me on this, because I'm not going to go through all of them, right? It's going to take me 5 hours. But when you look at in-house marketers, something interesting happens. Their problem is not really about control first of like strategy with their tactics. The first thing that comes to mind is the inability to build consensus with CEO and leadership to try new things and to narrow focus on verticals that will allow us to scale faster. And so that's kind of the barrier for them. And that's something that is interesting because it's not something that, I'm going to put that one here. It's not something that the others mentioned because they couldn't mention that. That's very specific to people who are not CEOs or founders, right? Or leadership. They are in-house marketers. They want their company to radically stand out. They also want a piece of the cake as well. They want to radically stand out themselves. Yet they have an inability to build consensus with CEO and leadership. Interesting, right? And they want to narrow focus on verticals that would allow us to scale faster, preventing them to do so. So when you ask them about their goal, what they want is to build confidence in laying the groundwork for a strong marketing strategy. Again, that will amplify our company's reach. Okay, so there's a lot to unpack. I'm just gonna. So again, confidence. I want to build confidence. Laying the groundwork for a strong marketing strategy. And amplify company's reach, build value, and attract customers. I'm just going to keep so I can attract customers from our niche, basically. So you can see, again, you're going to think I'm cheating here. I literally just copy pasted. I didn't really go through all of them. And you can see the something comes up again. Is this idea of strategy, of groundwork to have a strong strategy, this idea of confidence again, this idea of attracting customers. So you can see in just with five people, I already have some certainty, to be honest. When I know that they don't necessarily need more knowledge and more stuff. They want a clear head to build a strong marketing strategy to be able to achieve mainly profitability, more customers, confidence for them in themselves. However, the one thing that is different here is this inability to build consensus. That's specific to in-house marketers. And again, that's something I can tell you that I've seen time and time again from in-house marketers' side. So you can see that we can't really then target or create a product for in-house marketers the same way we can for folks who don't have to build consensus, because they are the ones deciding things. They are the ones who can change the product they're selling. And yeah, they might have to work with their partners and whatnot, but they are in a position of strength, while in-house marketers, especially the ones that are not in leadership, might like the idea of radically stand out. But then this inability to be consensus is something that is very difficult to fight for, to fight against. You're fighting strength, you're fighting stuff that are outside of your control. And from experience, this is a much tougher problem, to be honest. And it's a much more political problem that necessarily can't be solved in a heartbeat. So that's what I wanted to show you today. Again, if you have questions now, do post it, or else I think in 5 minutes I'm gonna stop this stream. To summarize, you don't necessarily need to talk to customers all the time, like face to face, but there's plenty of stuff you can do. You can really ask for questions, like questions over email when you have an audience, like if you have a podcast, a newsletter, just be curious about things. Ask them about, what made you take a decision? What made you buy from us? What did you want to achieve? What was the ultimate goal? What, if anything, stopped you from buying from us, nearly stopped you? You can gather a lot of copy insight from just a few emails, conversation on Facebook and community. There's a lot you can gather without having to guess anything anymore. And that's kind of what I wanted to give you here. Also, this idea of the progress that people make in their life, this idea of the catalyst, the trigger that make people move and want to go up that hill, picking different solutions and being attracted to your solution, but also feeling this anxiety and those objections is also super important. And then this idea of goals, in terms of like those that are basically the summary of the key goals that you can achieve as a marketer, that people want as customers, right? You can almost back everything and find all the stuff you're selling to be back to those are the goals that people have when they buy from you. So I hope that was useful. You know where to find me. You can go to everyonehatesmarketers.com. If you have any questions, you can email me, louis@everyonehatesmarketers.com. And yeah, thanks so much for following. And I'll see you later. If you have any ideas for subjects as well, you can email me or message me. So that's it. Have a good rest of your day.